It's hard to believe, but the oldest stories on Earth aren't found in books. They're buried beneath the soil of Canada. Stretching from the Pacific coast to the Arctic tundra, Canada isn't just a country, it's a living archive of the planet itself.
New research is offering a clearer picture of a large fault line off the west coast. The authors of the report say the data will provide invaluable insight into what generates major earthquakes and tsunamis.
In 2025, geologists made a series of discoveries so extraordinary that many began referring to Canada as the world's geology capital. From ancient oceans sealed inside billion-year-old rock, to fault lines once thought extinct beginning to shift again, the land is revealing chapters of Earth's history that were long assumed lost. And beneath its forests, plains, mountains and tundra, something else is happening, something quiet, steady, and deeply significant. The Canadian Shield, the oldest exposed continental crust on Earth, is rising. In the northwest, the Tintina Fault is moving after millions of years of silence. Deep caverns in the interior hold warm groundwater untouched by surface conditions. Microbial life is reawakening in melting Arctic ice. Rivers reverse, lakes vanish underground, and the Pacific coastline adjusts with subduction rhythms measured in millimeters. Individually, these are small signals. Together, they form a single message. The land is not still. Canada is not a landscape frozen in time. It is a continent still shaping itself from within. And now, for the first time, we can see it. Chapter 1. The Rising Shield. Beneath northern Canada, in the forests and lakes of northern Ontario and Quebec, the land appears unchanged. Yet satellite measurements have revealed a slow, consistent uplift across sections of the Canadian Shield. Just millimeters each year, but steady, widespread, and unmistakable. At first, researchers assumed this was post-glacial rebound, the slow rise of ground once weighed down by ancient ice sheets. But the pattern did not match known rebound models. The uplift was too localized and occurred where the crust should already be stable. Seismic sensors offered the next clue. Low-frequency vibrations were recorded deep underground. Not sharp earthquakes, but slow, sustained adjustments in solid rock. Combined with magnetotelluric surveys showing increased conductivity, the data pointed to a thermal source below, heat rising from the mantle. Geologists now believe that a long-dormant mantle upwelling may still be influencing the shield. These upwellings, or mantle plumes, can persist for hundreds of millions of years, heating the base of the crust without producing volcanoes. In this case, the heat appears to be subtly expanding rock from below, lifting the surface in a broad, gentle arc. Nothing on the surface shows this movement. The lakes remain calm. The forests stand undisturbed. To the eye, the landscape is still, but beneath the stone, the continent is adjusting to forces older than its own mountains. The shield's rise is not a sign of emerging disruption, but a reminder. Even the oldest land continues to change, quietly, in rhythms as slow as time itself. Chapter 2. The Awakening Fault Line in the Far Northwest. In the Yukon, where spruce forests thin into open tundra and wide valleys stretch toward distant mountains, the ground has begun to move in a way that is both subtle and persistent. The Tintina Fault, a geological seam running more than 1,000 kilometers from Alaska into northern Canada, was long believed to be inactive, a relic of a tectonic boundary that completed its work millions of years ago. Yet recent seismic monitoring tells another story. Across the Yukon Plateau, sensors have detected slow slip events, movements deep within the crust, that release energy gradually rather than in sudden quakes. These events occur quietly, without surface damage, but their consistency suggests that stresses are once again accumulating along the Tintina Fault. Satellite interferometry supports this view. Small uplifts and shifts in elevation trace a gentle arc along the fault's length, Riverbeds have adjusted their courses by centimeters. Ridges have tilted by fractions of a degree. Each change is minor on its own. Together, they form a pattern. The fault is responding to renewed, deep pressure. The cause likely lies far below. Thermal modeling indicates that warmth rising through the mantle may be softening the deep roots of the fault zone, making old rock more responsive to stress. This does not signal imminent rupture. Instead, it suggests that the fault, like the shield uplift to the east, is part of a larger-scale adjustment in the continent's foundation. On the surface, nothing appears altered. The valleys remain quiet. The wind moves across the plateau in familiar patterns. Yet the land beneath is shifting, slowly reactivating structures once assumed to be permanent. The Tintina Fault is not awakening in violence, but in movement measured in millimeters, a reminder that even the oldest fractures in the Earth continue to evolve.
Chapter 3. The Cavern beneath the mountains of British Columbia. In the mountainous interior of British Columbia, a cavern system was recently uncovered that challenges established expectations of the region's geology. The entrance was discovered during a routine aerial survey, a dark opening at the base of a ridge where no known cave should exist. When explored, the cavern proved not narrow or fractured, but vast. Chambers large enough to contain entire city blocks, connected by hallways of smooth stone. The surrounding rock is metamorphic, hardened under ancient pressure. Such rock is not typically carved into openings of this size by water or collapse. Ground-penetrating radar revealed that the cavern extends downward into multiple levels, suggesting a history of subglacial flood activity during periods when the region lay beneath massive ice sheets. Under extreme pressure, meltwater can move through solid rock with force sufficient to create large voids. Yet one detail stands out. The cavern is warm. The air and water within maintain temperatures several degrees above surrounding rock. This warmth is not volcanic. There is no magma source nearby. Instead, heat appears to be rising slowly through fractures that connect the cavern to deeper layers of the crust. Water samples show chemical signatures of long residence groundwater, heated gradually over time. The cavern's warmth has allowed microbial communities to persist independently of surface ecosystems, forming a quiet biological network in complete darkness. Above ground, the mountains show no sign of what lies below. The rivers continue their courses. Snow gathers and melts in familiar cycles. Nothing suggests the presence of vast, warm chambers beneath the landscape. Yet the cavern remains, a space shaped by ice, held open by pressure and sustained by heat rising from deep within the earth. A reminder that landscapes hold histories not visible from their surface. Chapter 4. The life emerging from Nunavut's ancient ice. In Nunavut, where glacial ice stretches across valleys and cliffs of ancient stone, recent warming has revealed pockets of biological material long sealed from the atmosphere. During seasonal melt, researchers observed dark, thread-like structures emerging in exposed ice walls. When samples were collected and analyzed, they were found to contain microbial life preserved for tens of thousands of years. Under controlled laboratory conditions, these microbes began to show signs of metabolic activity when rehydrated. Their genetic markers do not match any modern surface organisms. They reflect a time when the Arctic environment supported different nutrient cycles, colder oceans, and reduced sunlight. These microorganisms likely survived by relying on chemosynthesis, drawing energy from minerals rather than sunlight. Such metabolic systems are rare on the surface today, but are found in deep ocean vents and subglacial lakes, environments that exist independently of the sun. The implications extend beyond the Arctic. If microbial life can persist in ice for millennia, thriving upon re-exposure to liquid water, then similar environments may support life elsewhere in the solar system, particularly on icy moons like Europa and Enceladus. Nunavut becomes a natural analogue for extraterrestrial conditions. Yet another layer has emerged. Some microbial colonies appear to oxidize methane and release trace gases that influence local atmospheric chemistry.
As permafrost continues to thaw, these biological systems may become more active, subtly affecting regional carbon cycles. On the surface, the tundra remains quiet. Snow moves across stone. Light shifts slowly across long horizons. The re-emergence of ancient life does not transform the landscape. It simply adds depth to its history. The Arctic is not merely warming, it is revealing. And what it reveals offers insight into both Earth's past and the conditions under which life may persist beyond it.
Chapter 5. The river that turned backward in Alberta. In northern Alberta, a tributary of the Athabasca River briefly reversed its flow, surprising residents accustomed to its steady northward current. There was no storm surge, dam failure, or sudden obstruction. Instead, survey teams discovered that the slope of the riverbed had shifted, altering the direction of flow. Measurements showed that the land beneath the river had tilted by a small but critical margin. This change was not caused by surface erosion or localized collapse. Instead, seismic readings indicated deep crustal movement, a slow adjustment occurring far beneath the sediments and soils of the river valley. The region lies atop formations of ancient salt layers, remnants of an inland sea that covered the area millions of years ago. Salt behaves plastically under pressure. It can flow slowly through rock over long periods. If heat from the mantle rises into these layers, it can soften them further, allowing the land above to subtly shift. This appears to be what happened. The river did not move, the ground beneath it did. The reversal lasted only days before the water resumed its previous direction, but the event highlighted how small changes in the Earth's crust can produce noticeable surface effects. No homes were damaged, no infrastructure was disrupted, yet the land's quiet adjustment revealed that the region is not geologically fixed. The surrounding landscape remains unchanged in appearance. Forests continue to border the banks. Ice forms and melts in seasonal rhythm. Nothing on the surface indicates movement. Yet the event is a reminder that even in regions considered stable, the Earth continues to reshape itself, often slowly, often invisibly, and that rivers, like landscapes, respond to the deeper forces beneath them. Chapter 6. The warm cavern lakes of British Columbia's deep interior. In the deep interior of British Columbia, beneath ridges that rise in long slopes of forest and stone, researchers explored a cavern system newly identified through aerial and LiDAR surveys. The entrances were narrow, but the chambers below opened into spaces of surprising scale. Vaulted ceilings arching above still pools of dark water. These caverns were not carved by recent rivers or collapses. The surrounding rock is metamorphic, compressed and hardened over immense spans of time. The key feature of the cavern system is the presence of warm water. Measurements taken at various depths revealed temperatures several degrees higher than the surrounding rock, a difference small but consistent across the system. This warmth is not due to volcanic activity. Instead, it appears to be the result of slow geothermal heat rising through ancient fractures in the crust. Chemical analysis of the water indicates long residence times. The groundwater has likely circulated for thousands of years, moving gradually through stone before collecting in the cavern chambers. Within these waters, researchers identified microbial communities adapted to darkness and mineral-based energy sources, independent from surface ecosystems. The caverns likely originated during periods when vast glaciers covered the region. Under the weight of ice more than a kilometer thick, meltwater could move with immense force, carving tunnels and pockets through bedrock. As the ice retreated, these chambers remained, gradually filling with groundwater heated from below. On the surface, the landscape appears unchanged. Forests of fir and cedar, rivers cutting through valleys, snow resting on peaks. Nothing indicates the presence of warm lakes sheltered far below. Yet the caverns offer a view into an ongoing conversation between heat and stone, one that has continued long after the glaciers retreated. They remind us that the Earth's interior remains active, shaping even the quiet mountains above. Chapter 7. The disappearing lake in the Yukon Plateau. In the Yukon Plateau, a small lake that had existed for as long as local records recall vanished over the span of only 2 days. There was no breach in the banks. The water did not spill outward. Instead, it drained directly downward, leaving behind a basin of damp sediment and exposed shoreline grasses. Investigation revealed that a sinkhole had opened beneath the lakebed, creating a conduit into a network of subsurface channels. These channels are remnants of subglacial meltwater pathways, formed when ancient ice sheets pressed millions of tons of weight across the plateau. Under such pressure, water can travel through rock in powerful currents, carving tunnels and voids that remain long after the ice has receded. The lake did not collapse. It simply reconnected to this older system. A key factor in the event is the thawing of permafrost, the layer of frozen ground that has historically sealed these channels. As warming temperatures reduce the stability of the permafrost, previously isolated voids begin to open. Water moves into them easily, guided by gravity and pressure. Seismic sensors placed after the drainage event detected persistent, low-frequency vibrations beneath the region. These movements are not indications of imminent collapse or rupture, but of the land adjusting to new pathways of water and heat. On the plateau's surface, the landscape remains quiet. Small shrubs bend in the same wind, and caribou continue to cross open tundra. Yet the absence of the lake marks a subtle shift in how the land holds water. The drainage is neither sudden nor temporary. It is part of a longer transition, shaped by ancient forces and recent warming, a reminder that change in northern landscapes often begins beneath the surface, where it is least visible. Chapter 8. The Mantle. Diamonds beneath the shield. Beneath the forests and lakes of the Canadian Shield lies a network of ancient kimberlite pipes, vertical channels formed by deep origin volcanic activity more than 1 billion years ago. Kimberlite eruptions are rare in Earth's history, originating at depths where pressure and temperature conditions allow diamonds to form. When the kimberlite rose, it carried these minerals upward, preserving them in cooled volcanic rock. Recent seismic imaging has mapped previously unknown kimberlite conduits beneath northern Ontario and Quebec. Many reach depths of more than 150 kilometers, where the mantle begins. Samples extracted from these conduits contain not only diamonds, but mantle xenoliths, fragments of rock carried intact from deep within the earth. These xenoliths reveal temperature and pressure conditions from a period when Earth's continental crust was still assembling. Their isotopic compositions include signatures that match materials near the core mantle boundary, making them among the oldest and deepest accessible geological records on the planet. This discovery has implications beyond mineralogy. The kimberlite fields trace the early formation of the shield, offering insight into how continents stabilize over deep time. They suggest that mantle heat and chemical processes continue to influence the structure of the crust, a pattern that resonates with the slow uplift observed across the shield today. On the surface, there is no sign of what lies beneath. Lakes gather in glacial basins. Pine and birch forests extend across rock that has not visibly changed for thousands of years. Yet the diamonds and deep mantle fragments held in the rock below are reminders that the land has passed through fire, pressure, and transformation, and continues to reflect the movements of the Earth's interior. Chapter 9. The Subduction Mystery Beneath the Pacific Coast. Along the coast of British Columbia, the Cascadia subduction zone marks the boundary between the Juan de Fuca Plate and the North American continent. The movement is slow, centimeters per year, but the forces involved are substantial. Most of the strain is stored silently, released through gradual slow slip events rather than sudden earthquakes. However, data collected in 2025 showed a subtle shift in this pattern. Ocean bottom seismometers detected low-frequency tremor sequences
deeper along the subduction interface than previously observed. At the same time, methane seeps on the seafloor expanded, indicating that fluids were migrating upward through fault zones. Satellite measurements recorded slight changes in the elevation of Vancouver Island, just millimeters, but consistent along the coastline. These changes suggest adjustments in pressure between the descending and overriding plates. Thermal modeling indicates the presence of a localized warm zone within the subduction interface, possibly a remnant of earlier volcanic activity. This warm region is not large enough to create magma near the surface, but it may influence how and where strain accumulates and is released. For coastal communities, nothing has changed. Ferries continue their routes, and forests remain heavy with ocean rainfall. The coastline appears stable, yet beneath the waves and forests, the plate boundary is not fixed. It responds to heat, water, and stress, adjusting gradually, shaping the land in movements too slow for daily perception. The subduction zone remains quiet, but it is active. A reminder that continental edges are dynamic systems, shaped by deep processes that continue long after their initial formation. Chapter 10. Canada's Living Land. If you've reached this point, take a moment to consider what it means. The forests, the lakes, the tundra, the mountains, they are not resting on silent ground. They are part of a landscape still adjusting to the slow movement of heat, pressure, and time beneath it. Canada is living land. If you would like to follow these changes as they unfold, subscribe to the channel. New discoveries are appearing almost monthly, and each one adds another piece to this larger story of how the Earth continues to reshape itself. Leave a comment and tell us, which part of Canada's hidden geology would you like to explore next? The Shield? The Arctic permafrost zone? The Pacific coast? The deep cavern systems of the West? Your comments tell us where to go next and what to uncover. Like the video if you found something here that surprised you. Share it if you want others to see that the land we stand on is not as still as it seems, because the story does not end here. In the next episode, we travel west, to the edge where ocean meets continent, where pressure builds in silence, and where one of the most powerful geological systems on Earth waits beneath the waves. This is not the past. The land is alive, and it is still becoming.